Welcome back. Today I want to talk about something which can arise in your practice. Two things, actually, and they might be sequential. It's not guaranteed that they're going to be sequential, but they might be. And we're going to talk about why. And this all comes from a very small instruction from Lahiri Mahashaya. And we're going to see how that one little thing is actually quite huge and very, very fundamental to our process of meditation. So let's get into it. So what is it that Lahiri Mahashaya said? He said, first the yogi will become hot, and then the yogi will become cool. And that was it. That's the whole statement. What is he talking about? What does it mean? How does it work? First, as you know, we want to sit down. We want to sit as still as possible. We're trying to awaken the freeze response in the body, and to encourage that, we don't want to move. That doesn't mean we sit with tension. It means we sit as peacefully and as comfortably as humanly possible. We want to sit upright if we possibly can, because that will encourage a balance between the sleepy brain waves and the awake brain waves. And we want that very delicate balance between those two. Not too much of the conscious mind, not too much of the subconscious mind. We want those to be very nicely balanced, and that's why the yogi is always sitting up, or tries to. Sometimes you have a physical limitation, you need to lay down. But there's a halfway before you lay down. You can sit on an easy chair, and now you're somewhat more upright, and it's going to encourage more of that balance. Now you're going to have maybe a little bit of a harder time keeping that balance, and that will be your chore to do your very best to maintain as much of that balance as you can. And you're going to be a little more on the sleepy side, whereas the person who is sitting up might be a little more on the awake side. And they both have their side effects and benefits. So very interesting. So as we are sitting very still, we want to practice the HRV resonant breathing. This is the long breathing which encourages the heart rate to go down. The heart rate will go up as we breathe in, and we'll go into this very nice relaxation as we breathe out, because of the parasympathetic system, the healing system, nervous system in the body, and specifically the dorsal vagal parasympathetic. And that's where the freeze is. That's why we're sitting very still. As we get into that relaxation of meditation, something magical happens right away. The arteries begin to dilate. And you might notice right away hands hot and heavy. Now some people say, well, Forrest, my hands didn't get hot. They only got warm. That's it. That is it. The arteries dilated this much and the hands got warm. And sometimes when we keep going in this parasympathetic response, the arteries really dilate. I have a student, she's doing a lot of mantra, and she's sitting very quietly, repeating the mantra for long stretches of time. And those arteries open up, and she feels her whole body become very, very hot. That's all of the arteries not opening just a little, but a lot. And it creates all this heat in the body. I've had students contact me. They said, am I doing something wrong? My whole body is getting really warm, and you're talking about a freeze response. What happened? That's why I want to talk about this today. I want to make sure you understand when your arteries relax and they dilate, the body is going to heat up to the degree that they are dilating. You might feel it in your hands. You might feel it in your arms. You might feel it in your legs. You might feel it in your face. You might feel it in your core. You might feel it in the entire body. All of that is good. It means those arteries are dilating. And this is correct. This is very deep meditation. If you only notice it in your hands, fantastic. That is great. You are entering successfully into the parasympathetic system. And if you feel it elsewhere, great. Also good. Also, the awakening of your parasympathetic and the opening of the arteries, which opens up that heat in the body. Now, for some yogis, this will go quite far, and I was experimenting with some techniques that I was given from my guru, and I took it probably, if this was 1 to 10, I think I took it to 20, maybe 30, and I took it so far that the body started to feel as if I was sitting in an actual furnace. My body was so hot, I felt like I was in a live flame, like I had actually stepped into the fire. And I wrote to Ashok, and I think this was the only time I wrote him an email, and he immediately called me up. And he goes, very simply, is it blissful? I'm like, no, not particularly. It's kind of a little too hot. He says, what if you can't control it? What if you create a habit in your body and you can't control it? Is it going to lead you to more bliss, or is it taking you away? What are you developing? And I'm like, oh my God, of course. He's like, maybe you should pull it back a bit. It's not that you need to stop, it's just you need to pull back. You're taking it a bit too far. With what I've given you, HRV resonance, sitting very still, noticing the 4 proofs, it should never come up that far. You might get some heat, but you won't ever feel like you're sitting directly in a fire. But that is the potential of some of these yogic techniques. They are extremely powerful. Isn't that beautiful? But now we haven't finished the equation from Lahiri Baba, have we? He said first the yogi gets hot, hands hot and heavy. Then the yogi gets cool. How does that happen? Well, we are awakening through sitting very still, through the long breathing, through letting go, right? We've got to have that portion where we just let go. We don't control the breath. We just let go. We just be, right? We did the do. Now we need to be the be, right? We need that part of the session. So we work in this formula, right? I did some Mahamudra, I did some Navi, I did some HRV resonance, I did some Om Japa and the chakras, and now I'm going to let go. And through all of this, I am sitting very still, very, very important for the freeze response. And now I have deeply activated the dorsal vagal complex, and that freeze response is coming over me. And maybe parts of my body dim from my awareness. As I like to say, my body becomes ghost-like. Maybe a certain portion of the body becomes ghost-like or begins to dim from my awareness. Maybe I say it's numb. It seems like it's numbing away from my consciousness. Yes, that is exactly what's happening. You're interrupting the signals which are normally coming back to the brain to tell you about the body. But you're not there. You're moving somewhere else. You're moving into the right brain. And you're vacating your old command post in the left brain, which is the place that receives all of those signals. And so the body dims from your awareness, and you might feel some of these wonderful freeze sensations. You might feel cool waves through the spine. You might feel cool waves through the whole body. They might go up, they might go down. It doesn't matter, it's not important. You might feel cool waves of tingling all over the skin. That's the 4th proof, isn't it? That delicious, delightful freeze response proof that we are activating the dorsal vagal and the parasympathetic system beautifully. Oh my goodness. And you know it because you feel it in the body. The body tells you everything in your meditation is correct. That is the freeze response which is now overcoming the heat that you first encountered in your meditation. So you first encountered hands hot and heavy. Maybe your spine felt hot. Maybe your core felt hot. Maybe certain parts of your body felt very hot. And then slowly the freeze overtakes all of that. And it dims out, and you're left with nothing but these delightfully blissful, potentially blissful, cool sensations of the freeze response. Now, when you first encounter the freeze response, it might not be that blissful. But when you sit with it over time and you keep investigating, Forrest told me this is going to become blissful. Just sit with it that way and notice, and you will see it will become delightfully blissful. That's the freeze response, overcoming the initial heat that we discovered in our deep and profound, comfortable relaxation of meditation. So why is comfortability and relaxation and sitting very still so important? Why are they so core to the entire process? This is why. If we want to get to this deep stage of the freeze, overcoming that initial heat, we have to sit very still. We have to be comfortable. We have to be extremely relaxed in the body as much as we possibly can. You go down to the store and you get one of those tubes of hot and cool therapy, right? You put cream on the body and first it's hot and then it's cool, right? That has menthol in it, right? That's what creates the cool feeling. Can you believe that menthol was around during Lahiri Mashaya's time, and he said that the freeze response feels like menthol? Isn't that amazing? Isn't that cool? Now you have a very, very good idea of what a freeze response might feel like in your body. Go down to the store, get a little menthol, rub it on the body, feel what that feels like. And then when you're in deep meditation, wonder, oh my goodness, when is that menthol-like feeling going to come over me and freeze my whole form delightfully? Won't that be wonderful? And now you are inducing it in your meditation. We're not looking to fool ourselves. We're inviting in the next step of the experience. So again, an amazing statement from Lahiri Mashaya, an amazing counsel from him on what is going to happen in your yogic process, what you can watch for, what you can see arise, and know that your meditation is progressing profoundly. If you have encountered the freeze response one time, you're entering into such a profound level of meditation. It just, the clarity has to come from that freeze response, you see? It's so hard to get mental clarity when everything is bombarding you. You just can't do it. You'll have to have some of that freeze response to enable this level of clarity to come over your awareness. And then you can put that awareness on the hugeness of the divine. And now we're really cooking, aren't we? Now we're really cooking. So I hope that you loved this. If you did, be sure to hit that bell down below so I can see all of you next time.